Hey everybody, it's Georgia Rose from Zenkuda. You're a psychic astrologer, and sorry for the background. My studio is still in work in progress downstairs. So I am here today to talk to you all about the full moon in Sagittarius, which is coming in May 31st at 4:45 a.m. in New York. If you're in other parts of the world, you can look up what time is good for you. But this full moon in Sagittarius is also known as a blue moon for, well, I guess maybe because it's just a little blue. But Sagittarius is freedom, it's expansion. It is, we're going to see, as you can already see going on in the globe right now, we're going to see some people really wanting to protect their freedom, and freedom's being tested. So it's really an interesting kind of dynamic. But there's other planets involved because, as you know, the sun is in Gemini, the moon is in Sagittarius. That's why it's a full moon. They're in the opposite ends of the zodiac. And with the sun in Gemini, this is going to also have quite a bit of emphasis and themes around technology. Gemini is an air sign, so it's going to be about technology, flight, flying, and anything mercurial, because Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. What's mercurial? Well, commerce. Mercury is the way we think and communicate in our minds. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of freedom, and of truth. So you can see how those two things are going to be working in order to expand the truth in our communication, expand our technology, and expand a lot of things in our life, even in relationships that are going to really take a maybe a different course or a different perspective as this weekend unfolds. So I am going to share my chart with you of the full moon in Sagittarius happening on May 31st, and you can see that now. And this particular chart, as you can see, is a chart of the full moon. We have the moon here at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. So you want to look in your chart and find where 9 degrees of Sagittarius is in your chart, because that's where the moon is affecting everything. And then across the zodiac wheel at 9 degrees of Gemini is where we have the sun. Now, you guys all know, if you watch my videos or if you're astrologers, that Uranus is at 2 degrees in the sign of Gemini. So this sun and Uranus are what we call in a conjunction. It's a wide conjunction right now. It was closer when the sun first went into Gemini. But the energy of this sun and the planet Uranus being together in the air sign of Gemini, which rules our communication, means that the sun is going to shine its light on anything that is very Gemini themed, like we just said, flight, air, the way that we communicate, the way we think, the way we process information. But Uranus is that sudden, shocking energy of awakening, of change. So prepare when this sun is energized by the full moon and Uranus is right there. Prepare to know that your perceptions about the way you communicate are going to change. The way you hear and process information is going to change. The way technology is in the globe is going to change. So think about this weekend as we head into the full moon on Sunday. Think about, what are the areas of your life where maybe you need to improve or focus on communication more, and just the way that you process thought patterns or that you process information. Gemini is duality. It's two things can be true. So how well do you look at all information, take in things, and then use your internal compass, your intuition to discern information? Gemini is a part of our chart where whatever house it's in is really going to be the area or the type of themes we like to communicate with, whether that's water or an air sign. With Uranus in Gemini and air and the sun there and a full moon, it's going to really be refreshing for us. It's going to light up ideas. It's going to be innovative. And those innovations may be sudden and shocking because when anything changes, especially our thoughts or our belief systems or our patterns, it can be a little shocking because we're comfortable in our old ways. So the moon over here in Sagittarius, which is all truth and expansion, Sagittarius is the sign of the archer. And what do we have to do in order to hit our target with an arrow? Well, we have to pull the arrow back a bit in order to aim. So Sagittarius is the energy of aiming for the big target, in a bigger horizon, seeing a broader future. In an energy where we have the sun in Gemini and Uranus in Gemini, all conspiring together with the moon in order to bring up emotions, things that are meaningful to us that we identify with as truth, as our personal truth in the bigger picture of things. And how do we want to communicate those truths? And how do we want to disseminate information that supports those truths? So you can see how this can really be an awakening for a lot of us, but also playing out on the world stage is that might is right kind of power. It's the power of don't step on my belief systems. This is what truth is. And it can be that rigid kind of energy where our truth is the only truth and it begins power struggles. We've also got this full moon ruled by Jupiter because Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter right now is down here in the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign. So expect our emotions to be expanded in this energy. And Jupiter is finishing up its time in Cancer. It's been there for about a year. It's going to go over here to Leo soon. By the end of the month, end of June, it actually goes into Leo. And Venus is right here as well in Cancer. So Venus is the things we love. Jupiter is expansion. Cancer energy is our deepest gooey center, our inner sanctum, the most vulnerable places of us. So if you put that in context with the energy of the moon and the energy of the sun and Uranus, which I just described, this can be something occurring or an event happening that really tests our compassion, that maybe makes us vulnerable. And we can either go into retreat or we can sit with the vulnerability in order to bring wisdom forward in our life. So it's going to be a very interesting time because if that isn't enough complicated energy, we also have Mars and the Sun squaring Pluto. The Sun is over here in Gemini, and Mars is up here at 9 degrees of Taurus. And so this Mars energy is squaring Pluto here, right? So when Mars squares Pluto, that is a energy of tension. It's an energy of power struggles. Now that perfected on Tuesday of this past week. So I'm recording this on Wednesday. By the time the full moon comes on the 31st, this will be a very wide transit. It's moving away from its square. Mars is moving away from its square to Pluto now. But don't underestimate the fact that Mars, the god of war, when it meets Pluto, which likes to transform things through death, right? Through its demise. This is a really, really tough, volatile, strong energy. And it's still playing a part in this full moon we have. So I wouldn't be surprised if this full moon brings in some, maybe not literal life or death situations for us, but situations that feel like life or death in the sense of our preservation, our safety. Like if this doesn't happen, I'm going to die. We're not really going to die, of course, but it feels that acute, that like our life depends on it. And the reason I say that is because Mars is in Taurus, and Taurus is our self-preservation. So when Mars is in Taurus and squaring Pluto in Aquarius, which is new energy, it's pioneering, it is individuation. Something's going to get tweaked in order for us to come into our own power. So look for whatever has been disempowering you in your life in the area of your self-preservation, your stability, feeling like you're going to die if you lose this certain thing. But in actuality, if you had to learn to live without it, you'd probably get a lot stronger and a lot more competent because you wouldn't have that false dependence, that false codependence. That could be in a relationship or on a structure in your life. The job that really isn't doing you any favors, but you think you'll die if you don't have it, or whatever the structure might be. With this Mars energy interfering with this Pluto energy, it's going to feel like something is definitely, being decentralized, being broken apart. And it's a very visceral reaction in the body and in the mind. But the great news is here that we do have Jupiter here in Cancer, which is an expansion of our compassion, of our heart-based energy. So we also have a lot of opportunity to be healing in this energy and realizing through Uranus and the Sun, the Great Awakener, that the things that we think are security are a lot of times our restriction. And once they're removed, even though we think we're going to die, we actually end up completely living a beautiful, new, and much healthier life. Then the final aspect in this full moon that I want to bring out is Venus, our beautiful planet right here in Cancer, is actually, if you look at this line here, is actually having a conversation with the sun. And Venus and the sun are talking about, that's a conversation of a little bit of tension about what really is meaningful to you. What really isn't just the planet of love and romance and all those great things that are classic, but also what is deeply meaningful to you that's true, that you need to shine your light upon. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have with somebody, or maybe it's very simply something that just needs to come out in an event or something that you've been blinded to and now you actually see and awaken to. This is all about the Sagittarius truth, talking to the Venus meaning in our lives, illuminated by the sun and the great awakener, Uranus. And those false things that we run as self-preservation complexes being completely unearthed by Pluto in Aquarius in order to bring us to a cleaner, more truthful, brighter awakening. Not easy, very uncomfortable to let go of the things we think are our survival, but in the long run, this is about freedom. It's about liberation. The moon in Sagittarius and Pluto in Aquarius are really pushing us towards a freedom. So don't be afraid to let go. Don't be afraid to release. It will be a bit of an emotional full moon only because we've got this Jupiter and Cancer energy here. And we've got a lot of water in the chart. So just remember that with Venus in that water sign and Jupiter in that water sign, we may get a big case of feels. We may get a big case of, oh my God, I'm going to die. You're not. Keep moving forward because the strength that this beautiful moon in truth, the sign of Sagittarius, and the great awakener and the sun in Gemini are refreshing our minds, refreshing our communication, teaching us how to communicate more lovingly and more open and expanding love in our lives with this Jupiter in Cancer. And Pluto in Aquarius is showing us how that is going to be operative and embodied in our life in a very unique way to us as individuals, and then bringing it together in oneness. So that's our full moon. If you, on May 31st, if you want anything deeper about this, or if any of this resonates with you and you want to find out what that means in your own chart, then please go on to zenkuda.com. You can actually book a reading right on that site, and I will be there with you for over an hour. We're going to videotape that reading, and you'll have it forever and ever to look back on. Many of my clients visit me once every 6 months or a year in order to do their progressions and their transits, and they use this as a beautiful roadmap of their life. So I hope you've loved this information, and I hope that we can work together soon. Zenkuda.com. On Facebook, it's Zenkuda Soul Space, and on Instagram, Zenkuda Official. I am Georgia Rose, your psychic astrologer.